You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
You're probably a bit confused right now. I broke the glass. It's all come back to me.
What is this?
That's my ship.
What?
Let me take it from the top. Hello, I'm the Doctor. I'm a traveller in space and time. And that thing buried down there is called a TARDIS. Time and relative dimension in space. You're gonna love this.
Hello, Facebook people, and hello, everyone on Earth Station Who listeners. Welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. This is an exciting one for us. This one is going to be a little bit different than normal. This is a round-robin discussion that we're also doing with, some amazing people, but we are going to be, can Doctor Who be saved? And how can we fix it? So we're just going to go in and talk all about it. But let me do some introductions first. We have some guests with us. And, of course, welcome Melanie Dean back to the show.
Hello again, everybody. I'm so happy to be back and talking with y'all.
It is always great to have you on the show. And we have a couple newcomers with us, too. Let's also welcome Kevo Risse to the show.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Mackenzie Floh. Welcome.
Hello.
I've been actually excited because I also have been seeing other podcasts. And, I've been working a bit with the folks from the Traveling TARDIS show. And, it's the official title is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And, they are a great bunch of folks. And Melanie, Kevo, and Mackenzie all of them are active participants in that show. And it's a lot of fun, talking with Christian, and he has been doing gangbusters with that show. And Melanie, you want to tell everyone a little bit about that show?
Well, what started off as just him taking pictures of his little silver TARDIS and just having a Facebook page, following it around, taking it on its merry little adventures, hence why The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. He started up the reins of a podcast, which is now 2 years old now. First year was just, let's talk Who. Let's talk about Doctor Who shows. Let's talk about, episodes, doctors, every kind of thing in the world. And then COVID hit, which then made everybody a captive audience. And for some reason, very interview friendly with anybody who was working in the entertainment industry. So then we kind of shifted gears into online, Facebook, blah, 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 and became almost like an interview series. Since then, we're kind of trying to go back to our old school roots all 1 year ago. But we're a weekly podcast. We're starting to do the YouTube thing, and we're going to start making more content that's a little bit more bite-sized. And so you're going to see a lot more of Kevo and Mackenzie, and, they're on the show constantly, and we're just chit-chatting and having a good time. So there
you go.
That's my shtick.
Yay. That's her elevator pitch right there. There she goes. It's a great pillar. That is awesome. And, of course, we're also joined by our regulars. Let's say hi to Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And Mary Ogle.
Hi, everyone. It is fantastic to be here.
And if I sound a little scratchy on the show tonight, I apologize. I am fighting a cold. And I know. It's okay. Exactly. Just in time for my last voice lesson class tomorrow night. Of course. So I'll be in there in my class. Mike, we want you to read the script tonight. So it should be great.
Interesting take you're doing with that.
As a 100-year-old man.
Exactly. I'll do a great Mel Brooks. It'll be perfect, So It'd be awesome. So we definitely would love to hear from you guys at home, and definitely write us feedback at earthstationwho.com. We definitely would love to hear from you guys on this topic, especially because we're going to go for a while on this, and there's a lot of different things to talk about, and there's a lot of ways we can express this and talk about it. We might throw in a couple of news stories that are coming down, some, rumors that we've heard, and we definitely, are going to talk all about this all the way across the board on this. No holds barred tonight, folks. If somebody's heard something, if it's rumors, anything like that, we definitely would, like to talk about that. And, we're going to talk about ways, that, people have been, BSing about Doctor Who for years, and it's nowhere near as good as the old series, or this showrunner's not as good as this showrunner, or I miss this doctor, or I miss that doctor. Or you could always do the Radio Times, as in every January 1st, is this doctor leaving? Rumor going around that this doctor is going out the door. So let's go in. Is Doctor Who broken? Do you think the series is, on its last legs? Is it, let's hear from you guys. Melanie, you got a quizzical look on your face.
I don't think Doctor Who is broken. I think there are some little facets business-wise that are, like their marketing department. Sorry, guys, but really. And then if you want to get on a granular level, yes, there's certain things that are broken, but as a whole, Doctor Who just has some rust on it. And if they just go through and figure out where that rust is, strip it out, Bondo it, and paint it, it'll be fine. But Doctor Who's always kind of been that. I mean, look at the TARDIS. She's kind of old and a little worse for wear. So just like the TARDIS, Doctor Who is itself, maybe fix a couple things. And if we can get into that a little bit later, what those things I think they are, but let everybody else have their say first.
That's awesome. Let's jump in discussion. I'm not going to go now. Kevo, what do you think? Okay. Let's just dive in. If you guys have thoughts to go on that, let's just go with it tonight. And I'll bring up different topics as it goes along tonight. So
I'll just go with marketing wise. The reason I say that is you do not need to tell everybody who you're going to cast right out. Let it be. We live in a world of spoilers. I know it's extremely difficult to be ahead of those spoilers, but I think that a big problem with Jodie was that they told everybody about Jodie. And so you had that facet where it felt like a false kind of thing to some people that you hired specifically because it was a woman. Instead of just showcasing who she is and going, oh my God, the doctor's a woman. This is awesome. Sometimes a little bit too much of that kind of information in the beginning. I think it went into the hive mind and then it went berserk. Quick little kind of parallel is look at what happened with the Baby Yoda figure from The Mandalorian. They kept that zipped down, quiet, and made the audience figure out what they liked about it and didn't like about it on screen without someone seeing a picture of this and going, oh, they're making babies now. So they're trying to go to the little toddler audience. It just completely shut that out. I think that they might have learned a little bit on this, having John Bishop as a companion and just saying, hey, we have a companion, here it is. They didn't say it until they announced it. So I kind of think that's a step in the right direction, but I think they need to start keeping things closer to the vest than just, being able to control those that hive mind.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saying the next doctor needs to be a baby. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
And a green baby at that.
Green baby.
Maybe not green. Maybe
Baby
TARDIS
Yoda
blue.
is the next doctor.
Yeah, TARDIS blue baby.
Yes, that BBC should literally give me their 5-year plan, and I would like it by quarter. Who's going to be the actor, what the shooting schedule is, so that way I can go ahead and start making my YouTube rants now.
Oh, of course. I'm just, it's going to be spoiled anyway because they'll have to give to Funko Pop who the new character is going to be and the new costumes. Look how quickly once they announced Baby Yoda, how quickly all the toys started coming.
It actually wasn't quickly.
Yeah, actually they held off for a while.
Yeah.
They had to convince Disney not to make toys and not to hype Baby Yoda.
Yep.
You know, I really agree with a lot of what Melanie is saying. The thing is just, it is hard.
Mm-hmm.
They had to beg Disney, who are always having dollar signs in their eyes, who wanted to have Baby Yoda toys ready for Christmas, and they couldn't have anything. The Baby Yoda plushes were not available until August, and I can promise you that because our mother wanted one desperately, and she could not get a Baby Yoda toy for months.
Yes, you could get it on a TARDIS mug.
Yeah,
you could get it. Yeah, you could get like little Etsy toys of Baby Yoda, but the official merchandise took a while because they had to keep it so secret. It's hard. Like I wish they hadn't announced the next companion, but I even understand they had to because people are going to see him filming. People are going to be asking, who is this guy? And fans are ravenous and they don't let things go, and they would have gotten really annoying about it.
Right.
So I think that's the only reason they told us anything to expect from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Doctor Who does have a history of, just even recently, of surprising us, though, more so than a lot of other shows. I mean, last year, or the first season with Jodie, or the second season with Jodie with the introduction of the Master, that was a big surprise.
Missy too was a huge surprise.
Missy was a big surprise.
It's a better surprise. Yeah.
But
as
that first
a
appearance,
character.
that first appearance of Jenna was a surprise.
I knew about the Master I knew about the Master 6 months before he actually showed up. So for me, it was not a surprise
but
at
also
all.
look at the one episode with the Dr. Ruth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
that was a big surprise as well.
That what they've gotten better at it. But something like that, would it be like, oh my God, Jodie is regenerating, what, and who is this person who's the new doctor? And it's like, oh my God, it's Hugh Grant. Oh my God, or something, it would be great. It would be great to have something like that, like when Tennant was shot by the Dalek in that one episode and he started regenerating, they were going, oh my God, are they actually doing this, type thing. And that would have been an amazing idea to do. And I would love to have seen that with Doctor Who, but are they capable of it?
Yeah. I also think they're not good at capitalizing on their downtime.
No,
they're not good at using social media. They're not good at using, think of, put out some webisodes, put out some in between stuff. It doesn't have to be huge and elaborate. I know they put out some little things, but they just seem like afterthoughts. Put some thought into it. Especially since it's such a long time between series. So why not use that time? Use it to build up an audience. Use it, capitalize on that. Don't shy away from it.
No, how many times have we said on the show, it would be awesome to see a Paternoster Gang show.
Yeah.
Or a Return of Torchwood or something else. There's so many spin-offs of Doctor Who that you could have. Heck, people have been clamoring for a Paul McGann Doctor Who series. Even if they're mini-sodes or something, wouldn't it be awesome to have stories with the Eighth Doctor on screen?
Absolutely. They've got so many assets, so many ways in, to get to explore the, it's like a side quest in a video game.
And British TV is very open to these small little jumps. Their viewing audience is used to 4-episode mini-series, 6-episode actual series. Meanwhile, here we're like, what? There's not 32? I don't understand. What? You only have 5 and you were done? So over there, if you wanted to have do a 2-3 episode arc of just the Eighth Doctor or the Paternoster Gang and just film it so it just sits into Mary's point of, there's such lags of time, all this downtime. You can have a B crew, have that, utilize your license and your branding a little bit more. And it just seems like they're not doing that as well as they could. But that could be because they are, for the most part, kind of government, right? Government run.
That's true.
So
well, true.
I think
it's true.
And I think I just saw an article where they have to cut like $500 million or something crazy.
And I'm like, some ridiculous amount.
Exactly. And actually, that's one of the things we were going to talk about tonight is, you know, BBC's budget is being cut hugely. And there are some shows that, you know, you're even joint productions with other companies and such that are on the bubble of being cut out and just ending unless they could be saved. Is Doctor Who, do you think, one of these shows?
No. Doctor Who's a cash cow.
It would be. It's hard to believe that.
It's a cash cow. However, industry is shifting. One of the things that R.T. Davis actually mentioned, and it kind of goes with what Mike was talking about earlier, is he thought that mentioned two different things. The first thing was that it should be kind of like a Marvel universe where we have all these spin-off shows similar to what we did during his time where we had Torchwood. But then we also have the industry is shifting now where more things are going binge watching. So that's another area where you could technically take Doctor Who, do a whole entire series, could be 10, 11 episodes, and do it in the format of binge TV watching, which that formula, that's actually something that I'm studying right now as a screenwriter, and that is hot. You look at Discovery Plus, that Travel Channel, and Food Network, they all went with all their new shows, are all now on Discovery Plus. $5 a month, you get all their new shows. So it definitely would be something that would be nice to look into.
Oh, very much so. And, you know, is Doctor Who ripe now to maybe be sold from the BBC, do you think?
Would they dare?
I don't think they would dare.
I doubt it. I think they might do like a co-partnership.
Which there actually was a rumor that came out today, which allegedly came from the same source that where I found out about the Master 6 months before he actually got announced and knew it was Sacha Dhawan. There is a rumor now saying that apparently Warner Brothers and BBC are cooking up something where they're either going to do a reboot or they're doing a movie, which I had heard about a movie being talked about before from another source. So maybe there's something more to come for that.
Yeah. I'm hoping they don't do a Doctor Who movie because
miniseries I think is your better.
Miniseries I think would be better. Yeah.
Money-wise.
Exactly. Because, you know, so many, especially once they could start getting the Americans involved with it who don't know Doctor Who, you know, I lived through the whole thing through the what do we call the wilderness years, as we like to say, where, you know, they had all the rumors that Steven Spielberg was interested in doing a Doctor Who movie, that at one point it was possibly Michael Jackson going to be the Doctor, or, you know, all these different things. And thank God they settled with McGann. And it was just crazy to think about, though, that, you know, once Hollywood starts getting involved, then you start getting dangerous away from canon, away from all this different thing. And I know people, they want Doctor Who open to a bigger audience. And Doctor Who now is more popular worldwide than it ever has been.
I think it's for that reason that they do need voices from other countries, though. I think something that might help Doctor Who is getting an injection of Hollywood. Because, yeah, not everything they produce is great, but some of the stuff they produce is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that has been incredibly successful. It pays enormous tribute to its source material being Marvel Comics. Almost everyone that I have ever heard involved in it loves working on it. And I think that Doctor Who needs, it's ugly to say, but it needs a little injection of American greed. I think that's part of what has people so lax about producing content like we had talked about. You know, Russell T Davies really had that. And that's why we had things back in series 2. Like, does anybody remember the TARDISodes? Which were these like little mini episodes that went with series 2 for every single episode. And we haven't gotten minisodes since series 7, I think now. So almost 10 years. And I think that embracing its international market, it should never lose its British charm, obviously. That's its origin, and I appreciate and respect that. You wouldn't make Captain America suddenly really focused on Canada. But I think that they need to understand that they have audiences from around the world and be thinking a little bit more globally. I think they're thinking too locally right now.
I agree with that completely. And maybe a reboot might not be a bad idea completely. Like a soft reboot.
The format allows you to reboot anyway. I mean, so that's
you kind of reboot all the time anyway.
Well, exactly. That's what the great thing with Doctor Who is, that it keeps on reboot. It does restart itself every time there's a new Doctor. It's a reboot, basically.
Would you say that the Chris Chibnall era has basically, one of the problems with it is that it has gone stale?
Very quickly.
That it is simply a rehash of things rather than moving Doctor Who in a new direction.
Say it's 50-50.
But the problem was when Chibnall was doing all original villains, all new stories his first season, people were bitching and moaning. Where's the Daleks? Where's the Cybermen? Yeah. Well, he didn't create any villain that's memorable, or I even would want to see come back.
It comes down to the faults with the showrunner, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You have to do it with a certain amount of, finesse and ingenuity rather than, just kind of clunky writing.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with Kevo and that they need a little bit more of that immediate American greed vis-a-vis that they need to look at the Doctor Who brand and look at it as how many different types of revenue streams can we have with this. And I get you guys you're the BBC. You're not Marvel not Disney, who has Marvel and has this and has so much money coming in. It's like, oh, did we have a bad year with TV? It's okay. We'll get it from the parks. So they're not going to be able to do that, but you have to at least have a little bit of that greed to kind of come in here and go, okay, well then what can we do? Can we do those little mini-sodes? Can we do something that's, look what Sheen and Tennant did with Staged. Right. They were able to produce content in this format, and we're able to just to go, okay, well, can we find people who can edit this? How do we rig our own sound? How do we do this? So it's that whole necessity is the mother of invention. Mm-hmm. They need to get a little greedy and get a little bit, you guys are not going to have a lot of money. You need to start thinking outside the box and how we can use this amazing license that you have that you're not really freely giving the licensing away either, and figure out what kind of content can we do. Even in comics, usually the back page of a comic is another comic, whether it's a little type of cute little fun drawn one or some other thing. Well, not even that. You have your comic, then you have a few pages that's devoted to other comics, where if you want everybody else to learn about another one, you just put a couple of pages in there, and then you have another comic on top of it. So it's like a 1940s serial. You're going in there for a movie, but you're getting a newsreel and everything else. So I think the BBC has to look at Doctor Who and go, all right, what else can we spin off? And if that's them going to a whiteboard and making little circle diagrams, they need to start doing that so they can save the major brand.
Right. Broaden your focus.
And they're already right now partnership with a great partner in HBO Max.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's Warner Brothers right there.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's even in HBO Max's. If they want to get, as many subscribers as they want, if they finally want to overtake, Netflix, if they finally want to overtake Disney, we've seen that they're willing to do things like extend the Justice League movie, right? With the Snyder Cut, which is getting a lot of buzz. I would imagine something, ambitious with Doctor Who involving, past doctors or whatever would probably equally be as interesting to people. And epic, something epic in scope.
Could you imagine taking all of Chibnall's stuff right now and say, RTD, recut this? Take what he made and just recut it however you want. I'd watch it. If people could put their egos away, you could sell that box set.
The Davies cut.
The Davies cut.
I'm saying the Moffat cut. Like, okay, well, how do we screw that? What do we do with this? You can take that content and rebrand and have fun with it, even if you're mixing it up like you're taking last night's dinner and turning it into the morning's frittata.
Do you guys think Chibnall is the person to do that, though?
No.
I'm
going to say right out, no.
No. Okay.
Which is crazy how much...
I don't think it's necessarily all Chibnall's fault, per se. I think there's a lot of politics. There's always been politics when it comes to Doctor Who, but especially I know that there were things that Moffat wanted to do, and BBC's like, heck no. Nope, you're not doing that. So things have completely changed. If we look at even the pitch that initially Chib did for Jodie, that has completely pretty much gone into the into Skyro because of COVID. It pretty much has rocked everything. And now that is kind of what they need to do, is think outside the box. Going with Melanie, and I believe it was Mary and Kevo, all had suggested these things. I actually think what they need to do is bring in the person that did the Doctor Who lockdown. Look at how she so quick got all those people together and was able to do that. She's now working as a producer with Big Finish. Bring people from Big Finish. They can write stories like that too. You've got so many potential there. You got BBC and Big Finish combining there. It would be fantastic.
Well, one of the cool things with Doctor Who is they've added a writing room, supposedly, to creating the series and such. They never had that before. I don't know what the hell they're working on, though, because it doesn't seem like it's succeeding.
It's
a lot
not
of time. No, it isn't. And I don't know why. I don't know if the TARDIS was too crowded for the last couple of years. And there was just not enough talented enough writers or producers to be able to write specifically for all these different characters. Star Trek has done it, or other series have done it. Why? You have 4 main characters. That isn't that hard to write for.
Shouldn't be.
Exactly. And that brings actually a point that I've been very concerned of, because they are going to be cutting down this season. And then there's rumor that Jodie's going to be leaving. I mean, how in the world are you going to, you suddenly have 12 episodes that now have been put down to, I believe it was 8 now.
And this is including the holiday special for 8.
You're going to have a new Doctor. How are you going to get that time child era or arc written in 6 episodes? I just don't see them doing it without them half-assing it. I mean, really.
I don't really know how much more there is to that arc anyway, though, at least for right now. I don't know what else Chibnall plans to do with it. I kind of just assume it's a bomb he dropped and someone else will pick up the pieces someday.
Or just ignore it.
I don't need much more from it. I'm a fan of it. I think it's a really clever twist, and I think that it also fixes one of the biggest Doctor Who problems, which is people have always talked about the regeneration limit. Now, not only can we tell stories of doctors that we never knew existed, which is really cool, but now we never have to worry about that again. The idea that we can't get more doctors. I'd mentioned on TLTT a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about potential new doctors, a quote from Stephen Moffat on the 50th anniversary was he'd love to see Mayfly doctors, like someone who only appears for 1 episode. Mike mentioned earlier Hugh Grant appears. Why can't Hugh Grant play the Doctor for 1 episode and then regenerate? Now he can if there's no limit. And,
technically he did. So, yeah, it just literally I love these ideas that you guys are saying, because it's going the right direction and everything. And I think with today's audiences too, you have, people don't like too complex of a storyline. They lose it and it goes right out the window a lot of times, and that's sometimes why
that's not true. Look at the popularity of Mandalorian and WandaVision.
That's what I was going to say.
Those are very popular, and I think that's the problem. I don't know if if Chibnall did drop that bomb and didn't expect to do anything with it, then shame on him, because a showrunner's job is to try to think like 10 seasons ahead, right? You need to be planning everything. Look at you mentioned the success of Marvel. That's what the success of Marvel is that nothing, there's certain things that they have freedom to do by accident, but pretty much everything is planned out so well in advance that everything builds on each other. And, if you start now and start building to the, what is it? We're coming up on the 60th, right? Anniversary.
Yeah, we have 2 years.
Right. You start building to the 60th anniversary. Think about how huge of an event that could be.
Man.
I think 10 years for British creators is a bit of a stretch, though, just because of how short.
But you don't know. Like, this is a franchise you can do that with, not only because of the time travel element inherent in the story, but also because this is, look, I don't think any of us think that Doctor Who's going to go away anytime soon. Why should it?
Yeah.
Why should Doctor Who be canceled? Like, why shouldn't it be around in 10 years? It should be, right?
I am getting so sick of hearing these people online. Oh, Doctor Who needs to go on another hiatus. It needs to go away for a while to go away, people. You're not true fans.
Exactly. It's like maybe they need to go on a hiatus.
Yeah.
Go find something else.
model, which goes with Mike's point here. The TV binge model actually, and this is one of the issues that I have with current Doctor Who, with the 13th Doctor specifically, because the characters, all the companions, really, what you're supposed to do is you have your main character, and then you have your common characters. So those are the characters that would be the companions. And how do they relate to the Doctor? Well, we kind of didn't get that very much with Yaz. We started a little bit in Series 12 to get a little bit more understanding of Yaz and her background with depression and mental illness. But then we got the announce of this new companion. So I'm like, are we going to have that same problem where Yaz is going to be pushed back again and everything's going to be now pushed on John Bishop's character?
Well,
I don't know.
Who's writing it?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because going back to I was just going to say it's like back when we went on TLTT, when we were talking about the episodes of Jodie's first season, you can go back and look at there. I did not like any of Chibnall's episodes, the ones that he wrote. The ones that were the strongest, in my opinion, were people he farmed out to and said, okay, this episode is by somebody else. I'm like, that was a good episode. And go, oh yeah, it wasn't Chibnall.
Oh, most of these episodes since Chibnall started, the best ones are non-Chibnall written stories, because these people know, hate to say it, they know what they're doing. Come on, Chibnall. Mm-hmm. I don't think Chibnall was okay with Torchwood. He was okay with, some of the stories he wrote for the earlier years of the new series. And then Broadchurch. Even Broadchurch, after its first season, though, I think he didn't know what to do with these people. And that's what I feel like with Doctor Who.
Absolutely, because with Broadchurch, you find out after it's a whole whodunit kind of thing. You think, okay, he really plotted a lot of this out, and you realize, oh, he plotted like 2 or 3 different endings. So I'm like, oh, so you built this so that in case you wanted to just change it up, you could have actually had it that this person did it and not that person did it. Which I don't know if that's his approach for Doctor Who. And that's why it's kind of like almost like a spaghetti model a little bit, where, oh, well, we're going this way, but, the hurricane might hit this, it might hit this, but we're going that track. And I almost wonder if that's how Chibnall writes, and it's not really why for Doctor Who, where we had Moffat, we had RTD, and it was more tightened up. And that's maybe why we're getting this kind of little...
Mm-hmm. And even beyond that, I mean, I think he could almost get away with that if he was better at writing character. I feel like I can't connect to his characters. I have never connected to any of the new companions. I mean, it's not that I dislike them. I actually like Yaz a lot, but I feel like she's been given short shrift, that you never really get to know her. You never really get to know any of them. And, they change so much.
You got to know Graham. You got to know Graham really well.
even Graham, though. Graham, they all seem kind of superficial to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would probably have disagreed with you completely until this week. It's right now I'm actually doing this workshop having to do with screenwriting, the binge model. And that's one thing. There's the emotional characterization where you work in a character and you take their development. You first look at it, work it for one season. And then you ask the question, well, what will happen to that character's growth in, say, 5 seasons? Mm-hmm. So you really line that out. How would this character react? How do they develop? And that whole thing is just, it is superficial. It just kind of like, there's this one characteristic and that's all we get. It's, I hate to say it's a little bit like soap opera writing, because you'll have a character where they will talk about the same thing over and over and over and over, and they just don't go anywhere. It's like a broken record.
Right. Well, that's one of the hallmarks of amateur writing, is when you're writing character, instead of giving them depth, you just give them a quirk.
Well,
and
exactly.
that identifies the character. Well, that doesn't tell you anything about the character. It's a very superficial trait.
One of the folks over on Facebook, actually, our friend Nisha, who is going to be on our next episode, wrote, actually, is having a well-sourced writing team with different theming skills is very important. And I agree completely with that. It is, one of the things, you need to have skilled writers in there who are familiar with the characters, familiar with the background. That's why Moffat originally worked so well, because he was a Doctor Who fanboy. He knew where to come from with this. And, and it was I don't feel like you get that very much with Doctor Who nowadays. With especially, the last 2 years. It sucks.
Has Chibnall ever talked about having been a fan? I don't know, because we know.
Yes, he is a fan. He's actually a long time.
That's interesting, because we know Davis was as well.
A long time fan of the old series.
Yeah, there was a video of him. God, what was it? I remember seeing him, and he was young, and he was wearing a suit. But he was like on some like it was like BBC One kind of very, very, very public broadcast, and he was like talking to, I forget which showrunners it was, and how he was saying how, well, you need to be doing this with the series, and he was being very hypercritical, and it was like a show basically, and it said Chris Chibnall fan, and I
please do.
But yeah, it kind of was like, it was
post
it was
that, please.
funny.
I would love to see that
and see if he's done any of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Analysis on that, seriously, using the binge model, because that's what I'm doing right now. Is I actually had to in my workshop, I have to study a show that has that proof model, and then analysis it first on that. And I'm doing that right now with Walking Dead, because it did follow that model, and so I'm going through the old episodes again. I'm like, oh, this is really neat, seeing it from a completely different perspective. So I'd love to, based on seeing that stuff that you find from Chibnall, I'd love to do that.
I definitely would love to see something like that. The thing is, it's very interesting, because a lot of times, especially with the new series, you fall in love with the Doctor. You fall for the actor playing for the Doctor. You feel that you get to know this character. You know almost what to expect. Sometimes with like Matt Smith's Doctor, he was the alien, goofy one. With Capaldi, he was at first he was just, who am I? Am I a good man or a bad man? And then he became the aged rocker almost for the Doctor. I never felt that with Jodie's Doctor. It's almost like she's still trying to find themselves. And I completely blame Chibnall on that, because Jodie is doing, it's almost like Jodie is doing everything to save the show. She is, knocking it out of the ballpark with the material she has. But when you have crap, I almost said the other way, but when you have crap shoveled at you, you have to play with it and do what you have to do with it. And that's the problem.
Well, for the first series, she was almost in the background.
Oh, it was the Graham Show the first season. It completely was. We joked about it on the show here that, it was the Graham Show. And it was for the first season. For you, it was. No. But yeah,
one of Chibnall's weird tropes, everything that he's written has an old man in it for Doctor Who. If you go back in his episodes, he has some really weird tropes that he employed with his companions, and it feels a lot like Graham is the stand-in for himself, and that's tedious.
Oh yeah. Alan actually popped in on our message, and hope you're feeling better, Alan. Sorry you couldn't be here tonight.
Yes.
He said the thing with Chibnall was after Trial of a Time Lord, and he criticized John Nathan Turner and Pip and Jane Baker but everyone criticized Pip and Jane Baker,
sure
so it's okay.
They deserve the criticism.
If you YouTube Open Air was the name of the program in 1986, just write Chris Chibnall Open Air, and you'll see him sitting there just criticizing how the episode ran.
And now he's become the very thing he hated.
He was discussing with other Doctor Who fans his disappointment with the show's latest series, which was season 23.
Yep. Jerry Chandler just posted that up in the chat. So if anyone wants to click on it, we will also have a link to it up in our show notes. So thank you, Jerry. But yeah, it's real interesting stuff. How do we fix it though, folks? What else can we do to fix Doctor Who? Do you want to see Jodie stay? Do you want to see her at least stay through the 60th anniversary?
I would love to see her with a different showrunner.
I have an issue with the Doctor's leaving after its 3 seasons. I mean, I get it because it's so you have to be away from family for 9 months. But this time we've got the COVID. We've got the COVID Doctor. We had this whole entire big, really delay going on here where all the actors could be rested. So I want Jodie to continue on, but if she, for whatever reason, if she found a different role or whatever it is the case, if that is, then Joe Martin. I want Joe Martin to take over for the 14th Doctor so that we can continue on with the Fugitive Doctor. There's so much of the storyline for Fugitive Doctor that has not been really explored, and I don't know if Chibnall's planning on doing that, but I do hope that happens. If not, I want Jodie to stick at least through the 60th. Really, I do. I really do.
I would hope she would, because it's only 2 years. It really is. You know, even Matt Smith decided to stay through the 50th, and then the episode after, that's when he regenerated. I would be okay if Jodie decided to do that also. But
yeah, and he actually wanted to go. He now regrets that he left. He feels that he should have been with Jenna for another year before he had. So that's like one of his biggest regrets right now.
I think he was supposed to be. I don't know if I actually read it or if it's just a very strong impression that I got that he left early, which must have really pissed off Moffat.
Yes.
But he mostly just quit because his buddies left the show, which I get. But, you know, this isn't summer camp. This is a job.
Well, it's always interesting because Tennant was the same way. He now says he wishes he stayed with one season with Moffat because, Moffat had written this whole storyline for him.
Yeah.
And
that would have been really, I actually would love for Big Finish to do the version that Moffat was going to do so that we could actually get an idea of what that would have been like.
It would have been awesome.
So I'm sure there's something that he's already had written down besides just saying notes. This is what I was going to do.
Oh, he had scripts. He had, a whole plot line plotted out. And you could tell in the 11th hour where it could have easily been Tennant in that storyline and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And, which is pretty cool. And I would have loved to have seen that. Some of the people online are saying for those mini episodes, wouldn't it be great to get a River Song mini episode series?
Yep.
I think that would be, well, Mike, we know you would be.
I mean, that's the thing. There's so many strong characters in Doctor Who. There's so many things
we could have a
do.
Captain Jack. We could have Torchwood mini episodes or something.
I mean, it just, and they don't have to be like big, expensive productions.
No.
And that's the thing. There's a lot of these actors have already come back and they've done Big Finish. So maybe in my opinion, I think BBC needs to start pushing Big Finish because it's almost good and bad. It seems like the BBC gave them the license and said, okay, you have it. We're going to keep our hands out of it. And I think that's probably why the Big Finish episodes and all the audio dramas are absolutely astoundingly amazing. So maybe because it is okay, you keep your hand out of the cookie jar. Well, we've got this. Don't worry. But the bad thing, the bad thing is I know so many people Doctor Who fans, like even when I'm like, at cons and stuff, just chit chatting with, who, my tribe, let's start talking Doctor Who. And they have no idea what Big Finish is. I'm going, that's where the 8th Doctor lives. Wait, what? Don't you know that we're getting more 9th Doctor? What? You don't?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me go ahead and tell you. So clearly the actors and the talent want to come back. They're in some form to be able to do that.
I was going to say, 9th Doctor does not want to come back.
No, he's not. No.
He's on the screen anyway.
It just kind of shows you how comfortable and welcoming Big Finish has done, a job they've done to have all these people come back. Where to that point, Eccleston saying, yeah, you know what? I will do it. I've talked to enough people to go, I'll give you a chance. I'll put on that role again vocally.
Well, you can thank the pandemic for that.
Yeah.
I mean, without a lot of live action work for a lot of actors, a lot of them went to voice work, and Big Finish just reaped the rewards. They're like, come on in, and it's great. I mean, now we've got like this just embarrassment of riches when it comes to Big Finish. It's been pretty amazing. So yeah, to see that translate in some sort of form, like I said, on HBO Max or something like that, where you get like a Torchwood movie or a miniseries or something, or you get like these things, I think that would be great. It's in their best interest, everybody's best interest to do that kind of stuff.
As long as they don't do another Miracle Day, I'll be fine.
Well, I think Torchwood owes us, right?
Yeah.
Like, they did not end.
Yes.
I didn't even
make up
finish
for
that.
Miracle Day with Capaldi. That's it.
I'll be honest, I skipped it. I've never seen it.
You
You're not
don't
missing.
watch
You're not
it.
Because
missing.
I was told not to watch it. Funny enough, like the show Angel, I never watched the 4th season because I heard it was just so weird.
Oh, I love season 4. It's weird.
It's weird. And I just skipped right to 5 and I was fine. And I never missed a beat. So Miracle, I never watched it. I just skipped it. And I think I'm better for it.
You're fine. You're good.
I would actually say go ahead and watch season 4. I would say don't watch Miracle Day.
Yeah.
Alan actually wrote us and he says, I'm certain that the Fugitive Doctor and the Timeless Child are laying seeds for the 60th anniversary special.
Well,
that would be smart.
That would be nice.
I would hope so, because that's what I'm thinking. Like, you have to have someone plan this thing planned out, Now, as we've seen, sometimes, when you have something planned out like Moffat did with the 11th Doctor, and Matt left early, it just derailed everything and it crashed hard. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he ever really recovered from that. I don't know if that series ever recovered from that. But that is the danger of planning out that long. But you have to have some leeway in order to. That's why. I mean, it's great what Marvel has done to use that as an example, but nobody else has done what Marvel's done. I mean, they are an exception that everybody should strive for, sure, but it's hard. They've
got the source material.
Yeah.
And they have Disney money, so it's very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that's very true.
Oh, I think Marvel would be screwed, though, if Kevin Feige left.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I totally think, if Feige...
Yes and no.
Well, he's now going to be working with Star Wars stuff, and he's not going to be focusing 100% on Marvel. But that's neither here nor here. Could you imagine Kevin Feige, working with Doctor Who?
You need somebody of that level. I think you need somebody at that level. And I don't know who that person is right now. Like, if you ask me who would make a great showrunner if Chibnall leaves or if, whatever, I don't know who that person is. I mean, there's a lot of shows I like that I think that, could work. But they have to like Doctor Who, and they have to have a vision for Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
That's the important thing. They can't just be a person that comes in and can get stuff done on budget. That won't do. You need somebody who is going to create something that people are going to talk about the next day. Mm-hmm. And that the internet is going to go crazy about. Like, you just need somebody like that.
And that's what's wonderful about going back to, instead of binge watching everything all at once, it's great to have the weekly series back because you do have the water cooler talk, if you had a water cooler to talk about, anymore.
Virtual water cooler.
Exactly. But you get to talk about that and everything. So it would be real interesting to see what would happen. And Doctor Who does have a history with Marvel. So, so it'd be real interesting to see what would happen.
Doctor could end up in the MCU. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Crossover.
I don't know.
Oh, hell. It's like, wait a minute. You look like Kilgrave. What? No.
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm waiting for Marvel to bring us the Fantastic Four and tell me how Captain America and Killmonger were both Johnny Torch. So we're going to find that out, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Multiverse of Madness.
That's what I can't wait for. But that's the thing, is like Kevin Feige. To me, he's somebody he's the unicorn of, he has a left brain and a right brain that's firing on all cylinders. So he knows, okay, budget wise and analysis wise, and let's do this, and then he could put on his right brain and go, okay, I need to speak to somebody that has the creative juices to understand big picture like me and understands the source material. It just has both of those things going. So I think, to his credit, Feige knows who to put in the correct places in this game of chess, and not just throw try to get his pawns to attack everything. And I think with Doctor Who, Chibnall doesn't have that scope, or whoever needs to be above Chibnall doesn't have that scope to go, okay, well, you need to be in this role, and you need to be in this role, and you need to be in this role, and I'm going to trust you people because I know you guys can get this done.
No, agreed. That's totally true. What about, for like, we going back and forth a little bit, but like for in between the seasons, some kind of animated seasons, like series, so they can actually bring back some of the older actors and such.
Yeah.
And wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. Shannon Clute, one of our listeners, and she's on Facebook right now, she brought that up, and it's a great idea, because then you could bring back even Ian, who, it's a shame, that they haven't done. Susan is still around. They
Where
have
is
not.
she?
Yeah, they have.
I was hoping for her.
There's so much. There's so much legacy. Hell, they could even bring back Frasier as Jamie. They could, there's Zoe.
The Return of Adric.
No.
Oh my God! If they were able to go back and show that he lived somehow.
We were just talking about that before the show.
They did that.
Really
they did that in Big Finish. Actually, yeah, he survived it according to Big Finish. So,
thank God.
Yeah, but of course, the Doctor couldn't materialize the TARDIS around Adric or anything. At that point, no. Why would he? Oh, I didn't know how to do that yet. So, there's so much they could tap into, and I'm going to bite my cheek at this one. They could even do Rose and the other hand doctor in a story.
I watch it. I love it.
I want it so bad.
Rose in the hand.
I would be good with that.
Rose in the hand. That's what it should be called.
I think there was a lot of stuff that RTD did not write, which he should have and could have gone back and fixed. I mean, if the word bad wolf was scrawled across the beach somewhere and they went, okay, see, this is what's supposed to happen, or do something to kind of fix, though there was so many loose ends where that's why I can understand where some people hate the hell out of it. I understand it. I love the hell out of it, but headcanons can only go so far. So fix this.
Well, exactly. But even with the animated stuff, they could bring back Amy and Rory, or they could do stories of Rory the Centurion over 2,000 years. They just did that with Big Finish. It just came out this week. Or,
do a live action thing with Arthur Darvill as the Centurion, and it doesn't. That wouldn't have to be necessarily a big budget thing. No. Like a 15-minute webisode.
Mm-hmm. Hell, I wish they would have done an animated version of PS, which would have been amazing way to finalize the Amy and Rory story. And that would have been a great minisode, like we said.
Hilariously enough, written by Chibnall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was biting my cheek there, my friend.
I really do have to say, I might be in a minority. I'm not as bothered by the last two series. This has not even been close to my valley for Doctor Who. I almost quit at the beginning of Series 5, throughout most of Series 6, and throughout most of Series 8. I definitely do feel like we are in a lull. I won't deny that to anyone, but it's really hard not to feel like a lot of the kickback is just because of major changes like showrunner and female doctor and more inclusive companions. That I think is the bigger problem with Doctor Who right now, is a lot of angry nerd boys getting angry about women.
Mm-hmm. And that's where that's where I wanted to go next, actually, was fandom and how ugly it's gotten, especially the hate. Yeah, how the hatred against Jodie is out of their minds. It's ridiculous. It is, there's been people complaining about the doctors. We've lost co-hosts because of new doctors who have been on the show and such. But we are seeing now such hatred because there's a female doctor, and which is ridiculous. It's uncalled for. And I think she's been doing as great a job as someone like Tennant or someone as Matt Smith or any of the doctors. I would put her up there with that. She is doing
in a way even better because she's had worse writing to work with.
No, you're completely right. You are completely right.
I can't wait to discover her great adventures on Big Finish.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Well, as I always love to say, that's what redeemed Colin Baker's Doctor for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same here.
Not to mention Paul McGann had a great run in Big Finish because of that.
Still does.
And it was
he still is.
Bringing up Colin, it was that Colin and Perry relationship that saved Big Finish, saved that for me too, because on screen I could not stand Perry. I absolutely, when it comes to worst companions, I was like, I could not stand her at all because she killed my doctor. So, maybe I had a little bit of bias to there. But, but then when it came to Big Finish, I was like, okay, now they're not just butting heads all the time. It's making sense now. They actually have a relationship.
No, agreed.
Oh, yeah. The Sixth Doctor is just a revelation on Big Finish. It's so different.
And I think Jodie will shine that way away from Chibnall. But, people going, well, if Chibnall leaves, Jodie's going to leave because they're attached at the hip. And it's like, really?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that
way.
I
hope not.
Yeah.
But that
wish
seems
they would
to be,
stop doing that.
I know. I want her to break that mold too. I want somebody who played the Doctor to have more than one showrunner and to show, look, this is how committed I am to the role. And we're just going to, keep rolling with it. I'm not going to do this 3 and out, and I'm not going to do this. Oh, my showrunner is going away. I'll go too.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. From Facebook, we got Jerry Chandler. He said, I agree with Kevo. I've said before, I almost quit with Peter's Doctor despite loving him in the role. The writing was letting his Doctor down, and Jodie is a great doctor, is facing the same exact issues. And I agree with that. Because I think Peter Capaldi is a great doctor. He is a great actor, and I think you said it earlier that Moffat almost was in shock that Smith quit. That he had to pick up the pieces and everything, and I don't think he was prepared for Capaldi for the next season. And I almost dropped Doctor Who with that damn cyber brigadier and all that kind of crap.
Where did he go? Where is he now? Where's his story?
No.
That's one character
that one again.
That's one character that doesn't need his own miniseries. Just drop that.
So some things should just go away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mark Heffernan just wrote us. Talking about fandom, for a show that's supposed to be about change, it's surprising how many Doctor Who fans are resistant to change. I enjoyed the first Jodie Chibnall season because the Doctor faced off against brand new adversaries and visited new worlds. The second Jodie Chibnall season went back to the usual Master, Dalek, Cybermen, etc. formula. Agree completely with that. And I don't think Chibnall handled those characters coming back very well. I will say this, Chibnall did make the Daleks scary again.
Yes, that's one thing I can say is he writes fantastic Daleks.
I will say both New Year specials with the Daleks I enjoyed.
I did too.
And I like that they were related almost. Like they weren't exactly a two-parter, but they definitely... Yeah. I like that.
It was because it's actually meant to be a trilogy. So he actually had envisioned that. There is supposed to be another episode. That he envisioned it to be a trilogy. So that's why they...
Oh, dip.
Yeah. It was part of that 5-year plan that has kind of gone out the window like a Dalek.
Well, exactly. What do you guys, we're going to get at least another season of Jodie and Chibnall. As of right now, I'm so staying away from the rumors that she's going to be leaving at the end of this next season. Until I hear it from the BBC or until I see it up on screen, and I'll be shocked and surprised and see it's Matt Lucas as the next Doctor. It'd be great. But no, literally, it's going to be interesting to see, what's going to happen. Do I have high hopes for the next season? It's Chibnall. Do I have high hopes because it's Jodie? Yes. And everything.
There's no Graham.
I know. It's going to be, I'll bow my head and have a beer.
But don't worry. We still have a white guy in the TARDIS, so everything is still okay.
That's the most important thing.
We still have a straight white guy in the TARDIS, so everything is okay.
Thank God they put that at the end of the last episode so we can all calm down.
Exactly. People were worried.
This one, if there really turns out to be Jodie's last season, which again, I'm hoping it not to be, I want her to go dark. She is so good at being, if there is a scene that was a Shakespearean scene, you can actually look it up on YouTube it's between Eccleston and Jodie, and they are delivering this very dramatic scene. And that is what her cup of the tea is doing dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
She can shine in that, and Chibnall owes that to her.
Oh yeah,
it
would be interesting because every one of the other doctors in the new series have had periods to go dark. Her doctor has not yet. Even when Gallifrey was destroyed by the Master and everything, she didn't really go dark, and I'd love to see that. I think she can handle it. I've seen her play dark roles. Look at her role in Black Mirror. Look at, in other shows that she's been on and other movies. She plays dark really well. And I think she could do it. And a dark doctor would be great for a few episodes. So
yeah, she has a lot of range as an actress. And I feel like she doesn't get to show it. That she's kind of stuck on this one note, and it's not her fault. She tries very hard to break out of that material and go farther. But it's like they're keeping her reined in, and I don't understand why. I mean, let her shine.
Yeah, I also, I mentioned this on our show quite a bit too, but I don't think he did it. I think he did a disservice when he the doctor should always be the smartest person in the room. And there's many times on these episodes where I don't feel like she is. And I think that he's done a disservice. Now, I think he calls that, creating more dramatic tension and not having someone who's like uber powerful or uber smart. So they have to work through stuff. I get that, but that's not who the doctor is. That's never been who the doctor is as far as
there's always a level of arrogance with the doctor. Just a little bit that's under the surface. But, or even, or if it was Tennant Harry goes, I'd call you clever, but I'm standing in the room. And you're right. I absolutely agree. She isn't the smartest person in the room at all times. And and at least they're not showing that at all. Yeah. At least like with the Seventh Doctor, with McCoy, he would play as if, kind of clownish, but you could see he's being subversive because, he was being a little more calculated with it.
Right. He wanted people to underestimate him, basically.
Yes, exactly.
And actually, he got that a lot of Patrick Troughton's doctor, especially, trying to be, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to sit here playing my recorder. And, in the meantime, he's flipping switches and, or as the doctor likes to say, that's the one thing you don't do. Put me by a nice control board.
Or put me into a trap.
Exactly.
Yeah, I find Yaz a bit is going like how Clara did, and that was one thing I hated about Clara is it became the Clara show, and that Clara, it became like she was the equal to the Doctor. So I really don't want Yaz to go that direction at all.
No, Clara went from being the most important girl in the universe to wanting to be the Doctor, so far as lying and putting people's lives in danger. And it finally backfired on her when she tried to save that guy from the Raven and she couldn't save herself from it. And the Doctor couldn't do anything to save her except for go back in time and, rescue her with 1 second left
Put
to
her in
live.
a diner.
Yeah,
exactly. With me.
That episode was the one Moffat totally let me down because I actually liked the idea of the Raven, that episode being Clara's ending because again she would have saved the Doctor or a friend in this case, but still that was what she was supposed to do. And with the Doctor bringing her back and all that, I'm just like, okay, this is a case of I didn't know what to do with the episode, so let's just bring her back. Yay!
It was good to see some consequences. Good and bad. And then you just totally undermined it.
And that's the other thing I don't find with this series of Doctor Who right now. There are no consequences yet. So, and, Gallifrey was destroyed by the Master, but how, again, Gallifrey's going to be back again.
It gets destroyed all the time.
I bet you 10 to 1 at the 60th anniversary, Gallifrey will be back. The multiple doctors will, somehow bring Gallifrey. Gallifrey lives again, and they'll bring back Tom Baker going, who knows?
I'll just be the curator.
Yeah.
Be happy. Happier than a clam.
Exactly. Well, I think we're running out of energy. I could feel it already a little bit. It's just like, So
trying to fix this show is a lot of work.
Yeah.
It is.
Did we save it? It remains to be seen.
We bitched and moaned a lot. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did do a lot of moaning. I definitely agree with that.
But it is awesome. I think it was a fun discussion, and thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone who's watching us over on Facebook. This is awesome. I think we need to be doing more of these Facebook Live discussions, and I think we're going to start, and we'll do it with you guys. We'll do crossovers more and stuff, which is pretty awesome. This is just
that'd be fun.
A ton of fun. And, let's go around real quick and thank everybody for being here tonight. Mackenzie, you're an author. You want to promote your stuff real quick?
Well, sure. So I'm Mackenzie Floh. I'm most known for the Rite of Wand series, which the main character, Mirta McKinnon, is literally written for Matt Smith. So if you're a Matt Smith fan, you would probably like the book. Other than that, I'm also the author of the Binge Watcher Guide to Doctor Who series. So if you wanted to know more about Jodie's Doctor or the history, I'm the person to go to. So you can find me at MackenzieFloh.com, also at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much every place that you can find a book at. I'm there.
Awesome. All right. And Kevo, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
You're welcome. Should I plug?
Go plug all the way. Plug.
Well, apart from the work that I do on TLTT, I co-host Husbands Talking More or Less, or HTML podcast with my husband. We started by going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the lead up to Avengers Endgame, and now we've done a whole bunch of other stuff. We are about to get back into it, which is really cool. And we are also the co-creators of a superhero comic series called Kid Riot, which is about a bunch of heroes from across all different orientations of gender, race, sexuality, because being a hero isn't about who you are, it's about what you do. And all of that is available for free to read at kidriotcomics.com, and it is a tween and up title as well. That is awesome. And Melanie, you want to promote your stuff also and the wonderful podcast that you help produce?
So yeah, as Mackenzie and Kevo both said, and Mike's been on a bunch of times. Now we just need to get other Mike and I will tag you as other Mike and Mary on the show. The podcast is The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You can also find just the hashtag TLTT, and you can probably find it there. We're on YouTube, Facebook, all that kind of fun stuff. Where I've said it early in the show, we talk about things. I didn't mention that it's all Doctor Who based. I can be found. Shocker! No, I'm not a fan. These are two paintings I painted in my spare time. I paint a lot. Mostly portraits. Those are my parents, funny enough. They're the same person, so it's kind of weird.
John and Joan Smith. It's awesome.
Weird. Right. So usually I'm at cons in the Southeast, but you can find me on my Instagram handle, Facebook handle, and on my Etsy shop, Pieces of Melee. And prints, originals, all that kind of fun stuff. So here, you can kind of see even more. There's another tenant that I made because somebody else wanted it and didn't pick it up. And there's Jack, and I did a Sylvester McCoy, but I did him as Red Agatha Brown.
That's okay. That's pretty awesome.
So ta-da.
And Mackenzie has a friend who came and visited. It's awesome.
It's the second podcast I've done tonight. It's got cats in it. I love it.
Hey. And let's thank our regulars, of course. Mary Ogle, thank you as always.
Oh, thank you. This was a great discussion. I really enjoyed it. Thank all of you for being here. Hi, Kitty.
You want to promote your stuff?
You can find my artwork at maryogle.com. And I'm going to tease that I am writing my first novel. And that it will be an urban fantasy.
Wow.
And that it's getting close to being finished, amazingly enough. So I'm just teasing, but there will be more information.
You tease.
Nice.
That is awesome.
Check out my website, maryogle.com.
And of course, Mr. Mike Gordon.
As always, it's my pleasure.
Always great to talk to you, my friend. We got the Dragon Con report coming back next week, don't we?
We do. Yep. We got the Dragon Con report. Of course, you can find us both weekly on Earth Station 1. And you can find out about my books and comics and all that kind of stuff at newlegendmike.com as well.
Excellent. Definitely check his stuff out. Tiki Zombie is an amazing series if you get to check it out.
We're halfway through issue 4, people. We're halfway through issue 4.
Was that get off our back?
You can do it. We're working on it for you.
I'm working on it.
I know that, Tony.
Leave me alone.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We are Earth Station Who. We can be found up on Facebook, everyone who's been watching tonight. But we're also up on Apple. We're on Google. We're on Amazon. Anywhere you can find good podcasts. Even Earth Station Who is there. So please check us out. It would be great if you could give us 5 stars. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us some kind of rating, some kind of review. It would be awesome. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, if you want to leave feedback and write us, feedback@earthstationwho.com. Can't ask for anything more easy than that. We will be back again in 2 weeks. And Nisha, who we were speaking about earlier, is going to be joining us with her pick of one of her favorite episodes of Doctor Who. So until then, my name is Mike Faber. Love to everybody. Peace. And we will see you. Ciao. And we're done. Boom. Yay.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talent from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
Hey everyone, this is George Tripsis, co-host from the Metal Geeks podcast, along with Carrie, the Metal Geek, and Brutal Dave. Our show is where we bring the metal geek culture and heavy metal culture and mash it into the geek culture. Come listen to our show where we talk about movies, comic books, Disney stuff, and mostly about movies where I'm always right and Carrie's never right. Check us out at metalgeeks.net. You can catch us on all your earhole listening podcast devices.
I'm Carrie, the Metal Geek, and I approve this message.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.